I have a call in 7 minutes. I'll do a quick 7-minute journal. Okay. So it's not about time, it's about quality, and it's about expression, and it's about getting out what's going on.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Ana Melikian. I'm here to support you, increase your impact while preventing burnout. The Mindset Zone is a place to pause, increase your self-awareness, and embrace the experimentation mindset. Find more resources, including information about the Mindset Zone book and audiobook at mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. Today, our special guest is Kim Ades. Kim is the founder of Frame of Mind Coaching and recognized as a pioneer in the field of leadership coaching and thought mastery. Kim uses her unique philosophy to help leaders identify their blind spots and learn to direct their thinking to achieve extraordinary results. She is also an author, speaker, entrepreneur, and mom of 5. Kim has been a featured speaker for organizations including Microsoft, Tech Canada, Vistage, SHRM, and more. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Kim.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here and to be talking to you today.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to this conversation as well. And I know your experience with working with leaders. In fact, I think you have worked with leaders for the bulk of your career.
Yep.
So, from your perspective and experience, what are the main challenges these leaders typically are struggling with?
Yeah. Yes, we've been coaching leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, what we call this the highly driven population. And we've been doing that for the past 20 years. And what we have found is that they typically struggle in one of 4 key areas. And it's pretty consistent over time and over industries. The first is that we find is that they're very isolated. So they carry a huge amount of responsibility on their shoulders. They do have people to delegate, but they feel like the burden of their responsibility is theirs alone. And at the end of the day, the buck stops here. And what that also means is they don't feel like they can trust very, very many people to talk about their worries, their fears, their doubts. They feel like if they expose themselves, that's a big threat. So they feel very much alone. And they also feel often that they don't quite fit in.
Before you go to the other 3, let's just pause a moment on this one, because the thing about the leadership position and feeling lonely at the top, yes, but tell me about that other dimension that you are speaking, not fitting in. What do you mean by that?
They don't relate to everybody very easily, right? They think differently, they think faster, they see the world through a different lens. Sometimes they're visionaries and other people just can't keep up. So they are frustrated, and I'll get to that in a minute. They march to a different beat or a different drummer or whatever the expression is, and they're often uncomfortable with other people. Maybe they're smarter in the room, but they don't blend always so easily. They try to blend, but they don't quite blend.
Sense. So isolation, that first key area. What are the others?
So the second is what I call human friction, conflict with others. And we see 2 types of conflict. We see overt conflict where they get upset, they maybe lose their temper, they yell, they scream, they get angry. Maybe they're sometimes even aggressive and rude. So that's one kind. And the second kind is more common, and it's covert friction, where they observe another person's behavior, performance, and they feel like other people aren't working fast enough. They aren't on the same page. They aren't rowing in the same direction. They don't have the same sense of urgency. They don't understand. They're not smart enough. And they just keep all of that in, right? They hold it in. They don't express it necessarily because they say, I have other more important things to take care of right now. Like, I just can't deal with this. So it boils up inside of them.
Yeah, so one is more an abrasive style, the overt, but it's
That's right.
it's out there. The other one is like sweeping under the carpet and keeps building.
That's right. And we see both of those. But I would say to you that, and I'll talk about the other two areas of struggle. This one, this friction with others, causes the greatest stress, causes the greatest discomfort and annoyance, causes the greatest uh, obvious problems for them. The third one that we see is a sense of chronic dissatisfaction. So these are people who are high achievers and they are always looking at their achievements and they are always saying, yeah, but it's not good enough. I should be further ahead. I don't understand why it's taking so long. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my team? Something's wrong here. It's not good enough. We need to fix it. And they're always feeling like they're not quite where they want to be, ought to be, should be. And they are looking at other people around them and they don't understand what other people's are accomplishing, the goals that they have, and so on. And so they always feel this internal discomfort or dis-ease with where they are at. And even if they may have been great achievers in the past, they look back and they say, yeah, but that's not relevant right now. Right.
Mhm.
So, and then the fourth one is a term I invented. It's called slippage. And what is slippage? It's when these leaders, these highly driven individuals, let important things slip through the cracks. Things like their health, their eating, their nutrition, their sleep, maybe they're overeating, over drinking, they're not having a lot of fun, they're working late into the night, they're not really communicating with their spouses or partners. And you just feel like something's off. And perhaps they worked super, super hard and they come to a point and they say, is this all there is in life? I didn't think that this is how it would be. And so there's this feeling of, what have I done? Like I've focused so much of my time, so much of my energy for what?
Interesting. It's so interesting. It's this last four area is like they are starting to pay the price of not taking care of themselves.
Exactly. Exactly that.
And the third one of the chronic dissatisfaction, that disease, not feel at ease, prevents them to be on in the moment and probably seeing many opportunities.
Yes, it prevents them from being in the moment, but they're always like, I always tell my clients, put down your stick. And what I mean by that is they have a stick, and the stick is either used to beat up others but most often it's to beat
Yeah.
themselves up. And I say, put down your stick. Like, it's not working. It's not helping you reach your goals.
Wow. So with these kind of four challenges that you see often happening, and I bet that in many cases is a cocktail mixture of these
Yes.
in different doses for different people. I know that one of your tools, you have a toolbox, incredible toolbox and loads of experience, but one of your favorite tools is journaling.
Yes.
Tell us how you see this as so important tool for you to consider one of your core tools.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is the benefit for these people with this challenge that you just
Yeah.
described?
So first, let me explain to you how I use it. So what happens when we coach our leaders, these are people who don't have patience. They want results and they want them now. And so we try to deliver those results quickly. We front load our coaching experience so that we create a 10-week journey. And in those 10 weeks, there's a call every week. And in between every call, we ask them to journal in a private and secure online journaling platform with their coach every single day. I have a team of coaches, so it's not just me. So at the beginning of the week, they get a journaling question or a prompt and they start journaling. And every time that they journal, their journal goes to their coach, who then reads and responds to their journal every single day, even on the weekends. And so why do we do that? Number one is, I really feel strongly that most coaches in the world don't know their clients well enough to coach them effectively. They don't have enough data. And so when, as a coach, I'm asking my client to journal, I'm extracting the data I'm looking for across all areas of their lives. And so I'm asking them to journal. When they journal, I ask more questions. I dig deeper. I understand how they wired, how they think, how they react and respond to things, what their beliefs are. And the beliefs component is really critical because their beliefs drive their actions or inactions. And so I'm really understanding their storyline. Why? Because the story they tell is the story they live. And very often they live a story that is partially good, not entirely good. And so what we're trying to do is understand how what they are doing, what they're seeing, what they're living, what they're telling contradicts their desires. And so the journaling gives us that extra data that we so critically need. But there's more. But wait, there's more. What's more is that when a client is journaling every single day, they make progress. When they journal with a coach every day, it's lightning speed progress. Because the coach can very easily, because they're experienced, identify their blind spots and see where their beliefs diametrically oppose their goals. And so it happens very fast. But there's more, because let's say I'm coaching you and you journal with me every day. What happens between us? We develop a very intimate relationship, because who in your world gets to read your journals, and who in your world shows up every single day without fail?
Wow.
That doesn't happen. So when that happens, that relationship becomes extremely close, extremely tight, and it's the relationship that is required for travel to take place, for progress to happen. When you trust me, you're willing to go.
Yeah. Increases and builds the trust. So juicy things here. So I love so the journaling becomes this incredible, and the way that you organize, and I know that you develop even the software to help you
Yes.
in this process, because you don't want to ask them journaling in their journal paper and then wait for the next coaching meeting to have the
Correct.
conversation about. You develop this secure online place where they can journal every day and get
Yes.
feedback every day to
Yes.
accelerate the process and identify. I love what you said about the beliefs that takes to action and inaction, because in many ways, mindsets can be seen as these core beliefs that filter the way that we see the world.
Yeah.
And you are using the journaling as a way of identifying these core beliefs and seeing the blind spots that are
Yes.
preventing us,
Exactly.
that we are not aware of. That is the definition of blind spot.
Exactly. And there's even a little piece more that it was not intentional when I started this, but I have discovered it, is that one of the big things about coaching is that it's very abstract. When someone hires a coach, they always ask, what am I going to get out of this experience? What's the tangible outcome? And many coaches have a very hard time defining that outcome, right? Unless it's like a specific kind of coaching, like marketing or branding or website development or whatever, right? So that's not the kind of coaching I'm talking about. I'm talking about leadership and executive coaching. And the question becomes, what's the ROI of this experience? And what I have discovered is that when my clients are journaling, they are literally writing down the ROI, because what we see is in week 1, they're struggling with whatever, X, Y, or Z. And by week 7 or 8, that no longer exists. Now they are handling the same problem with ease and mastery. And so they're tracking their progress. It's in writing. It becomes very tangible and obvious what they are receiving from the experience.
Love it, because they can go back and read the first entries and see the difference and
Exactly.
the evolution. That sometimes is like when we have a kid and we are with the kid every day, and then we only notice that they grow when they are going to try the new clothes of the season, and the ones from last year don't fit anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. The same thing.
Yes. Wow. And I can start to see the power of this with the key problem areas that you identify in the beginning. Because, for instance, isolation. Now they have somebody that they can trust that is in their side.
Exactly. Yes, precisely that. And we're addressing all of it. We're asking about their relationships, their communications, their areas of frustration. We're doing all of that.
Mm-hmm. I like is the coach, and this also this process of journaling, and that is really a way of increasing the self-awareness of the coachee in a big way.
Yes.
Putting that black and white on the paper, so to speak, and identifying the human friction, how, especially if it's covered, they can bring it and articulate it and see how it affects. And even, how do you say, the abrasive one is really important, that articulation, and they understanding the consequences on the relationships from it. Wow.
Yes. I'll even throw one more thing in, because I think this is interesting. So as a coach, what I'm really tied to is delivering an extraordinary experience. I don't want to just be an average coach. I want to be an extraordinary coach. where they walk away going, oh my God, that was incredible. And so part of that experience means that you show up when you're unexpected. And so when a client is journaling, let's say, and they have a crisis, and that crisis happens maybe, in between your coaching sessions, and they're journaling about it, I don't need to wait until my next coaching call to show up. I could quickly text them and say, let's hop on a call. And they're like, wow, that wasn't part of the plan. I'm not paying for this. This is an extra. This is a bonus. But what I'm doing is I'm showing up when I'm needed, but not expected.
Love
So
it.
what am I really doing is I'm delivering that extra level of value, which is exactly what they need.
I love that. They are feeling the return of their investment in a big, big way. And
Huge.
I cannot avoid thinking, how do you protect your own time? You said that you have a team of coaches. How
Yep.
do you protect your own time, mainly your time off?
When is my time off? I have time off on the weekends. Yes. And I have time off. I usually book off half a day on Fridays, right? But other than that, I work full time. And what I do is I assign time in my day to read and respond to journals. And it becomes really easy. And I keep an eye out. But also, because of who I coach and how I coach, I don't need to coach 100 people at the same time. I don't need to have back-to-back coaching calls every single day for 4 or 5 days a week. I don't need that. That's not how I want to live my life. It's not how I want to run my business. What I want to do is make sure that my focus is on that extraordinary delivery. And so I can coach a fewer people, which gives me buffer and time as well.
Love that you are walking your talk, because you are a leader in that sense, and you can
That's right.
fall into the same areas of challenge as the
Yeah.
leaders that you coach.
Yeah. But
So
I own my own business. I do what I want. If I need to take some time off, I take some time off. If I want to go to Florida and work for half a day and go to the beach for the other half of the day, I do that. I make it work.
you create the conditions to be in the moment and be satisfied with your work and business and taking care of yourself. That is so
Exactly.
important.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do your clients that work directly with you or somebody in your team, do they come because of the journaling process, or they are surprised that the coach asked them to journal?
No, they know that's part of the process. So we let them know right up front. I would say a good 60% of our clients come from referrals. All right. So they know what they're getting into, they understand the level of intensity. And then the rest usually come from some kind of a speaking engagement or a podcast or something where they've heard me speak. They understand what I do, they understand how we do it, and they are drawn to it because of the level of attention they get from their coach. And they know that if they want to move somewhere and they have somewhere that they have something that they're troubled with and they need help with it, that they're going to make that happen quickly with us.
So, how often do you get a client that is skeptical about the time that takes to sit down for the journaling? That say, yeah, I
I,
like the idea, but
so I ask them, do you answer emails? And they say yes. How long does that take? Well, depends on the email. And I say, exactly. Do you answer text messages? Yes. How long does that take? Depends on the text message. Exactly. So how long does a journaling take? It can take 5 minutes. It can take 35 minutes. It just depends on how you're feeling that day, what's going on, what's brewing in your brain. I can't tell you how often I look at the clock. I'm like, oh, I have a call in 7 minutes. I'll do a quick 7-minute journal. Okay. So it's not about time. It's about quality, and it's about expression, and it's about getting out what's going on. But I think more often than not, what they're surprised about is the level of attention they're getting from their coach and how present the coach is. That's not what they expected. That's the bigger surprise.
yeah. And you are creating a habit of, because one of the things that I speak a lot nowadays with my book Mindset Zone is I have what I call the pie method. That it's like what I come up as a way of teaching something when I do a talk, that people don't need a cheat sheet. And if they learn that 3 principles, they really can catalyze whatever work they do in personal professional development. So a P is for pause, I increase self-awareness, and E experimentation. And I see what you are creating for them, moments for them every day to pause in a deliberate, intentional way.
Yes.
Journaling absolutely increase their self-awareness of their thoughts, of their feelings, of their behaviors.
Yes.
And they are experimenting with this new medium and these taking coaching to the next level, because even if they had executive coach before, this is a different experience.
Yeah, it's completely different. Completely different. Yeah.
And how long a typical client stays?
It depends. We start off with 10 weeks, and then some of them are good. They're like, okay, that was great, amazing. What we find is that many clients come back when they need it again, but then many clients just continue and they stay in what we call maintenance mode. And so instead of a call every week, maybe they have a call every month or every 2 weeks, and they continue to journal as often as they want. It's not as intense, but we're here. We know their storyline. We know what's going on. And so they rely on us for that. And so I have some clients that have been with me for 8 years. It just depends.
Yep, but they know that they can trust, and they know that they have the support that they need there. This is fascinating.
Yeah. And also we have their journals. So we have their entire stories there, right? I have one client who took his journals and codified them and wrote a book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like you are taking because I think there are many people out there that journaling for years or thinking about journaling, and you are taking this experience and this modality to the next level.
I think so. I'm biased, but yes, I think
Yeah,
so.
absolutely is so powerful. And do you get any pushback of the more traditional journaling people that say, oh, you have to write on the paper? Writing with the pen and the paper is a different thing.
Not maybe 20 years ago, but not now. No, because everybody works on technology,
Yes.
right? Even they journal in technology.
Yeah.
So it's not even a question, not even an issue. It never ever comes up. On a rare occasion, I have some people who say I'm more comfortable writing on paper. I'm like, okay, take a picture and put it in your journal, upload it, and I'll read it. It's not easy because their handwriting is sometimes hard to read. It's not the most practical solution, but I do it, of course.
I love it. And the flexibility and the important that is not an excuse for not doing the work.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So, what can you advise people out there that are thinking? Of course, I want you to tell people how to learn more about you and your
Yeah.
work. But
Yeah.
you also, I think, in one of your websites, you have even some journaling prompts for
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they just want to tip the toe in the journaling,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, exactly. So the way to find me is to go to frameofmindcoaching.com. And on that site, there is like a little badge or a little button or something like that with 10 powerful journaling prompts. And get those because it'll get your mind brewing. Even if you only select one to work with and just sit with it and say, okay, how would I answer this question? It starts to get your mind activated and reflecting on what you want, where you are, where you're going, how to get there, all of those things, maybe some of the things that are holding you back. And if you're really bold, then I encourage you to send your journaling response to me directly, and I will give you some feedback. And I can be reached at kim@frameofmindcoaching.com.
I will make sure that. Thank you so much for that generosity of putting your email out there, and I will make sure that also is in the show notes, but as a way of starting this process. And then I imagine that in that website, they can learn more about your speaking and
Yeah,
about your
everything.
coaching. Everything is there.
Yes. Yeah.
And LinkedIn will be another way of communicating with
On
you.
LinkedIn, you can find me. Kim Ades is how to find me. It's Ades like Sam. But when you're on the website, also take a minute and look at the testimonials because people's stories are so fascinating. And what you'll find is that the experience of this coaching is not the same as a typical coaching experience. And it really creates outstanding results.
Yep, that is what you are known for, and for
That's
a
what we're known
reason.
for. Yes, exactly.
So thank you so much for sharing this, and I love how this expands the possibility of journaling. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on your show. I so appreciate it.
expanding possibilities. The mindset zone.
If you can think of a person who will find this episode helpful, please share it. Spreading the word about the Mindset Zone podcast is very powerful. For extra resources, including information about the book and audiobook, Mindset Zone, Actualize Your Human Potential, go to mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. As always, I'm so grateful that you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.